Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We start on the forecast. It's going to really feel like summer this week, and that humidity is not going anywhere.
Air you can wear, we like to say around here. And it looks like we have another shot at some strong storms later in the week. Here's Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rach?
Yeah, we'll definitely get even more soupy by the time you wake up tomorrow. We are going to feel like Florida. There is a chance for a spotty shower during the day tomorrow, although most of the time will be dry. And then it is downright hot on Tuesday with the potential for, yes, more storms. So we have issued a weather impact alert, not for tomorrow, but this will be for Tuesday between noon and 8 p.m. when the temperature will be around 90, but it could feel as high as 95 to 100 when you combine the temperature with the high humidity. So we wanted to give you this heads up just to limit strenuous activity outside. You need to work around it. Sometimes you're changing schedules and what you're going to do outside with the kids. We also issued a weather impact alert for the same day, again, Tuesday, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. for scattered storms. Some could be strong, possibly even severe. And we're also watching the chance for some slow-moving downpours that could lead to some poor drainage flooding. Heading through the overnight hours, though, no weather issues except for the humidity. Overnight lows will stay in the 70s for a lot of the state, and there could be some patchy fog. We'll also see increasing clouds. Tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies to start off the day. High temperatures will climb into the low to mid 80s, and again, there is a chance for a spotty shower or rumble of thunder, even though most of the time is dry. We're going to talk more about that storm threat for Tuesday, the humidity, and more rain chances for later this week. Your full forecast is coming up in just a bit, guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you. We have breaking news from Middletown here at 10:02. Police want people to stay away from a section of East Street there after a dirt bike crashed into a car. Police tell us the rider of that dirt bike was flown by helicopter to Hartford Hospital. He has serious injuries. The other driver was not hurt. The crash happened at 8:30 this evening. East Street is shut down between Glenwood Terrace and Minor Street. Police have it closed off for their investigation.
Connecticut roads are seeing some extra traffic tonight. Drivers are heading home from their 4th of July holiday weekend.
Connecticut State Police spent the weekend patrolling those highways and just released preliminary enforcement numbers. Troopers responded to over 4,000 calls between Thursday and Saturday and made nearly 1,000 traffic stops.
They also arrested 25 drivers for DUI and handled hundreds of other incidents out on the roads. State police responded to 248 crashes over the 3-day period, including 26 with injuries. 2 were deadly.
Those fatal crashes happened on July 4th in Southbury and Prospect. Troopers also provided traffic help in more than 400 other cases, ranging from disabled vehicles to debris on the roads. And we'll get the final enforcement numbers sometime tomorrow morning.
A somber anniversary tonight. On July 6, 1944, 168 people were killed. 700 others were hurt at the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus on Barber Street in Hartford. 15 minutes in, the Big Top caught fire. It's been 81 years since that moment shook the city and the state to its core.
Fox 61's Stefan Reel shares some stories of survivors and how this tragedy still impacts them to this day.
This is what the Hartford Circus Fire Memorial looked like last year. Usually, people could go stop by to pay their respect to the 168 lives lost in the tragedy.
But in 2025, due to the demolition of the Wish School, that memorial fenced off. And the ceremony that would take place on this day, no more. But still, people were asked to reflect on the lives lost and the lives impacted by that fateful day back in 1944.
I remember my mother said, was anybody injured? And some guy says, no, everybody got out. Well, that was a big lie.
Before he moved to Southern California, Jim Bushnell was just a kid from Mansfield, Connecticut. On July 6th, 1944, his family and the family next door packed up and went to Hartford to go to the circus. But it wasn't long before things went horribly wrong.
We were about row 5, 6 or something like that. The thing I remember most is the heat on my back.
For a 9-year-old, that had to have been a lot. What was your emotion at that time?
Probably not as bad as it should have been. It happened course, we didn't know how many people were killed either. I guess I was too young to get too excited about it.
In the commotion, two of Bushnell's brothers got separated from the group. One was found on a porch at a nearby house. The other was thought to be dead for a moment, until he was found at a nearby school where the other children were taken. A total of 168 lives were lost on that day in 1944, a memory that continues to stick with survivors to this day, including Bushnell's late wife, Mary, who went with his family to the circus.
She was always very nervous about fires after that.
And something survivors like Pete Borderland push to move on from.
How do you get over something like that? I think it's willpower. I think you just have to decide that you got to put it behind me or it'll eat you alive.
Back in 2005, a memorial was built to honor those lives lost, with a circular plaque in the middle of it all, and the names of each of the victims engraved on it. And while the memorial site is not accessible this year due to the construction and demolition in the area, Hartford's first responders and members of the community are still remembering those lives lost in what is still one of the worst fires in the state in U.S. history.
Since 1944, groups have been organized to chronicle the history of the Hartford Circus fire. For a link on more photos, interviews, and stories, you can head on over to our website, fox61.com. In Hartford, Stephen Reels, Fox 61.
Well, new tonight, a Southernington teen is helping gather food donations and other supplies for people in need. She set up her truck on her front lawn, and people came by to drop off bags filled with non-perishable foods and hygiene products. Those bags went right in the truck and will be donated to a local organization. Fox 61's Joe Monty was in Southernington to show us the girls' efforts.
Vashti Stanley, a recent high school graduate, is helping Southernington Community Services by gathering donations in her half-pink truck.
Summertime, it's the hungriest time of the year, and these kids, these families, we need to be feeding and helping our community out.
Vashti Stanley is a Miss Connecticut teen volunteer representing Southernington. Part of her and her family's mission is to help those in need. She posted all over social media that she was accepting donations and was so happy with the community's response.
Ever since I posted it, people have reached out. I have more donations in the house. This is only just so much.
Sunday morning, she set up her pink and green truck in the front yard for a few hours. As people stopped by throughout the day with bags full of food and hygiene products, Stanley greeted each person and gave them a big thank you. One of those people, Tammy Lebrecht, says the thought of kids going hungry, especially in the summer, bothers her. She makes frequent efforts to donate when she can.
I can't imagine the kids having to be told no to having snack foods or juice. To me, buying that can of soup is no problem, but to somebody else, that can of soup could be the kids' lunch.
She's happy to see people like Vashti take on such a meaningful task.
I think it's fantastic. It's the forward generations that are going to continue the work.
Stanley and her family have taken part in fundraisers and collected all kinds of donations for those in need for years. Now that she's a little older, she's excited to take on an initiative of her own.
It's important to me. It's always been a priority, giving back to my community. My parents have instilled that in me and my siblings since such a young age.
Stanley says they have at least 2 truckloads of donated goods. She says she's thrilled that it's going to help people right here in her community. In Southernington, Joe Monty, Fox 61.
We now know the name of the teen killed in a crash over the weekend in Southbury. State police say 19-year-old Spencer Jorgensen of Newtown was driving west on I-84 near exit 15 just before midnight Saturday when he veered off the road and hit a guardrail. His car went down an embankment and came to a stop. He did not survive. The investigation continues tonight. If you saw the crash, please call state police.
Holiday tragedy in Danbury now. A missing swimmer has died after a search on the 4th of July. Police say a 17-year-old boy disappeared while swimming in Mountain Pond. After a massive search involving divers, boats, and rescue teams, crews found him around 5:30 last night. He was taken to the hospital, but police say he died. His name has not been released because of his age.
A man was pulled from the Housatonic River this afternoon after Incon police say he jumped off his boat and tried to swim to shore. It happened this afternoon near Worcester Island in Shelton. The man struggled in the water and went under. Another boater pulled the man from the water and brought him ashore. He was taken to Griffin Hospital. We're told the man is expected to survive.
We've learned new details about a fire that ripped through a home in Colchester yesterday. Firefighters say all 4 people who lived in the home on Lebanon Avenue made it out safely, but their 3 cats died. Firefighters were called at 7 last night. It took fire crews almost 3 hours to get it under control. Jim Pike, who lives nearby, says flames erupted out of the home, but firefighters were quick.
There's just smoke kind of coming out of the attic, and then the flames kind of started slowly, and then it was just shooting flames out. And then literally seconds after, the fire departments from like 4 different towns just like descended. It was amazing. Wow. They really did an amazing job.
The family lost everything in the fire. The Red Cross is helping them recover.
A man is facing charges after driving straight into a pond in downtown Milford. Police say it happened just after 1 a.m. behind Stonebridge Restaurant. Officers saw the car go off the road and into the water. They jumped in and pulled the driver out before the car sank. Milford firefighters arrived minutes later to check out the driver and help the local tow company pull the car from the pond. You can see the salvage operation here. Police say the driver wasn't hurt, but he was arrested for DUI and evading. They also say he hit another car near Shipyard Lane just before the crash.
Well, new here at 11, we're getting some new information from state police about a couple of break-in bears in Granby. DEEP Encon police say someone called to report a black bear with 3 of her cubs getting into a home Saturday on Barn Door Hills Road. Officers say the bears got into the home through a basement screen door and then grabbed a couple of snacks inside the home before going back out and wandering off into the woods. DEEP has not found the bears after this encounter.